Well, good morning, Springfield. Good morning. I cannot believe that we're back here at State of the County again. It seems like we were just here doing this. Time flies when you're having fun. I am pleased once again to bring you greetings and a report on the state of Greene County. Now, as I start, I want to say that on the table in front of you is the actual report, okay, for this year. There's a QR code on the back which will take you to a lot of detailed data which was provided by our team and some key updates and measurements that we have met, some benchmarks, and some key achievements in 2025. Here's the snapshot as I get started. Greene County's operations and financial condition are very solid, and they're progressing due to sound and strategic decisions over the long term. We do have challenges, of course, and we can overcome those together. I'll talk about a few of those today. But even better news is that we have spent the last 7 years growing a culture of servant leadership, which is being fostered with an eye toward the horizon and mindful of the critical investments for the needs of tomorrow. Our fostered culture of servant leadership bears fruit, I believe, every day in ways you may not notice. And the evidence is the calmness, the courtesy, and the connectedness that you likely find most often defines your encounters with county employees and elected officials. In past years, I have provided a detailed annual update on specific departments and key operations. I'll do a light version of that today. And again, you'll find the details on that link, which is on our website. In 2023, we mainly discussed one urgent topic for the community: the need for improved access to mental health services for our residents. By the way, we are making great strides forward on this priority as the completion nears on the Youth Behavioral Crisis Center on the north side of the city, which will provide a full continuum of care plus a 16-bed youth residential treatment center for some of our highest need youth. Last year, I provided an overview on what counties do for Americans around the country. And today I will say again that while many elements of chaos are swirling around other institutions in the nation today, our county and municipal governments across America are holding the country together, no doubt about it. I could not be more grateful for the people that I get to work with every single day who make government work well in Greene County. Some of them are right here in the front. Would you please express your appreciation to my wonderful colleagues? Now, as for today, before I go on, please forgive me for a moment and travel back in time with me, back to the months before my first address to you as your new presiding commissioner. For those whose memories are long, you can bear witness to those who have forgotten that there were several years of community chaos, conflict, and convolution. From where we stand now, looking back, it's hard to imagine 7 years ago, Greene County and the city of Springfield were suing each other with your hard-earned tax dollars. Commissioners were constantly in conflict with each other. And our citizens walked into the county courthouse like they were walking on eggshells. The Sunday paper read like some sort of soap opera magazine. There was awkwardness and even palpable anger and fear in the community because of it. I hope we never return there. We must not go back. Now, I will forgive you if there is a slight groan when I remind you of the second most memorable thing about my first address, because that was the one where I serenaded those present with the words of a song sung by pioneer settlers, pioneer heroes who pushed on. They pushed on despite obstacles during the westward expansion in the early days of our nation. More about that as we wrap up today. Let me turn to what I want to believe was the most memorable thing about that first address. Looking back, I believe it was a day when together we opened up a sense of hope. We took a collective breath of fresh air, hope that brings calm collaboration and courteous unity to our county operations. It was possible and maybe even probable. And today, as we look back, I want to give you permission to take some measure of pride. Some measure of pride in knowing that you, each of us in this room, have been a vital part of this process of helping to create a culture of servant leadership. You, each of you, has helped to create the success that we are now experiencing each day. The good people of this county still determine our own destiny. Thank you for what you do. Give yourselves a hand. You can rest assured I don't intend to sing to you today, okay? But at the end of these comments, I will wrap up my remarks by reminding us of those moving lyrics. They speak to me often, actually. I'll occasionally find myself humming the tune. And I believe given challenges that we face on the horizon as a community, we need their inspiration. We need their inspiration. They're words which can inspire us to press on in the face of difficulty, to our own high calling of servanthood and civic progress. So now for this year, I will provide a quick look back of where we have come from. I will paint a picture of the challenges we have overcome together, and I will shine a light on how we get to the positive place, how we got to the positive place we are. And if you will allow me, I will describe a vision of where we can go from here and how we can get there. It goes without saying, Greene County is in a better, more fiscally sound, publicly transparent position. But we do yet have mountains to climb in order to provide high-quality, state-of-the-art public service to citizens. We call it constant quality improvement. To make the process possible and the progress possible, we will need to make strategic investments in infrastructure and economic development. And we have work to do together as we seek to become a magnet region that stands out as a desirable hub for new markets, enhanced tourism, and overall growth, all while maintaining a relatively lower cost of living than other regions. I'm going to fly through some examples of excellence that reveal what I have been thinking of as evidence of our culture of servant leadership. And most of these will fit into one of three descriptive words: calmness, courtesy, and connection. When we launched our transparency portal that Matt referenced in 2019, and citizens could access every county expenditure at their fingertips going back 5 years, it was revolutionary and unheard of. This was before anyone in the state capitol had the idea of requiring such a thing of local government. Citizens were generally interested. Sunshine requests dropped overnight, and trust began to be restored. We were partners again, and partners we will be going forward. We took time, some serious time, to re-examine that all requirements mandated by federal and state partners pursuant to the proposed Kansas Extension Expressway had been fully met, and that all correspondence and records backed up the assertion that I's had been dotted and T's had been crossed, related to planning and public meetings, Then we acted on the facts and decades of planning, and the project was just completed in the last few days, on time and under budget, thanks to collaboration with our contractor and creative incentive for value enhancement. Congratulations to the Greene County Highway Department, City of Springfield, with our partners at the intersection, and all involved, some of the contractors in this room. Let's give them a hand. What do we mean when we say servant leadership? What I've shared with our employees, department leaders, office holders, and even partners on occasion is that if you'll imagine a triangle and invert it, you find that those who were thought to be at the top of the pyramid are now on the bottom, supporting and serving everyone else. Those who were on the bottom, reporting up the so-called chain of command, are now on the top as servant ambassadors to the customer, the citizens. What's up is down, and what's down is up. It's not king of the hill, it's how can I help? My role, I've explained to them, is to serve my two honorable and distinguished colleagues, Rusty McLaughlin and John Russell, who each bring a wealth of valuable industry-specific knowledge to county operations. Our role together is to serve our 10 independent office holders and our chosen commission department heads. Theirs being to serve one another and their employees. Then we can, by example, inspire our employees to truly serve the communities, partners, and individual citizens who employ us all. I'm so grateful for what they all do. I want to take a moment to really express gratitude to our people that serve you. We've done that here a few times this morning. I've shared with you before some of the financial challenges the county faced over the years, and I've shared with you that our pay structure is below market to the point that we've had difficulty recruiting folks. We need to address that. But the secret sauce, if you want to call it that, is the culture. They don't stay for the pay. They stay because they love what they do to serve you. This is their county too, and they believe in the cause, and we're deeply grateful for them. Even beyond the call of duty and job descriptions, our folks serve and engage the community after hours. Many serve on community, state, national, and even international boards and committees. They teach classes or they offer research in their respective fields, lead regional collaboratives with their peers, do various service projects to help their fellow citizens, or serve as mentors for youth or leaders in their household of faith. We've done our best to model what is required to achieve this culture of service that leaves the customer with a smile of knowing that their government works for them. What is required in order to have calm, courteous connectedness, selfless service. It's always about the other person and what they need. We've come a long way, and I repeat, we're not going to go back. This extra mile of service is exemplified by two related incidents relayed to me recently by a constituent. One, a case of vandalism, and the other, attempted fraud. First, the vandals tore up her battery-operated gate and camera. And then the fraudsters came to the courthouse to record a deed to transfer ownership of their dear aunt and her property, who was incapacitated. It all looked great. It all looked legit. But keen eyes and thoughtful concern prompted a couple of service-minded employees in both the collector's office and the recorder of deeds office to contact the citizen and confirm that they actually wanted to transfer their property to the out-of-state family member. After telling our folks she wasn't incapacitated, but rather in the grocery store, and that she didn't have out-of-state family, the plans for fraud were foiled. Naturally, she's grateful, and so are we. We're grateful for Crystal Warren in the collector Alan Isett's office, and for Recorder of Deeds Cheryl Dawson Spalding and her entire staff who thought to call. We're grateful for Deputy Kruger and Investigator Cumby, who reviewed the vandalism, Detectives Pendergrass and Mitchell, and also Detective Higgins, who came out and did some minor repairs and then installed a garbage can cam in order to record any additional activity. She told me that they may be a bit embarrassed to look at it this way, but they were her guardian angels. To us, that's what service looks like. It also looks like a new and innovative service to citizens provided by our archivist, Connie Yen, and her team. It's called Chronicles of the County. Again, above and beyond the call, they've produced the first issue of a quarterly publication called Chronicles of the County, which will be a hit with anyone interested in research or history. You can pick up the copy of the quarterly magazine, of course, at the Greene County Archives, just north of the Courts Building, and it will also be on our website soon. But I got to peruse this edition, this first one, and it's got articles in here like Built for the People, the historic courthouse and its offices, Keepers of the Will, a history of women probate clerks, and then one I had to read a little bit about, Till Death Did Them Part, the murder of Nora Blades. The fella got permission from a father to marry a young girl and 2 months later committed murder in 1913. Some things we see repeated throughout history, but that's what's interesting about Chronicles of the County. The selfless service of staff, community partners, and volunteers during the 3 major storm events, which required activation of the Emergency Operations Center at the Springfield Greene County Emergency Management Center, is unmatched. We watched and in some cases worked alongside these incredible teams that fielded calls, organized relief, and made extended plans to help respond with assistance to those in the most need. Good preparation is hard to beat, and those additional sirens in northern Greene County now allow for better triangulation and pinpointing so that not all the sirens need to be activated at once. We have a record of selflessly taking care of one another when it comes to these kinds of events. And the heartwarming story of neighbors who immediately assisted Ronnie Holtgren near Willard when his convenience market and gas station was destroyed April the 29th is indicative of the quality of humanity that we are surrounded with here in this beautiful place we call home. Now, related, and on the other hand, I and other office holders have increasingly had to engage in seeking relief from federal and state partners who more and more wish to push responsibility down to local government, all while reducing resources and centralizing control. Our message is really clear. Just leave us alone and let us do what we do well. Local control works because the people can best manage their own affairs, and the government closest to the people knows the people best and can best serve them. With limited resources, We've had to be creative in looking for savings and managing our own affairs. Our budget must balance every year. We don't have a choice. One of those creative solutions has saved the county tens of thousands of dollars, and the savings is increasing. It was about 5 years ago when we looked at our health insurance offerings to employees and the escalating costs every year, 10% or more annually. And we said, we've got to do something about this. But we did not want to force something on our employees. So we came up with the decision to offer a choice. They could continue to keep the plan that they had, or they could opt in on a high deductible health insurance plan, which had a health savings account component, and we would give them money into that account. I've shared this with you before, but in this review, I just want to point out the savings is increasing. Folks, we're incentivized to be healthier, claims have been reduced, and the first year we did that, remember, it was a 0% increase in our premiums, in our health insurance cost. The second year, a 0%. And the third year was only 3%. We are so pleased and so proud of our employees for what they've done. They have become stewards of not only their health, but their insurance plan, and some of them have turned that HSA into another source of retirement funding by good choice. There are other challenges that the county faces, and creative planning, creative solutions seem to always be the answer. Our park board has challenges that go back for many years with maintenance funding. There have been many positive changes, effective leadership under the direction of Ron Schneider, with a unified board is making a thorough system-wide analysis of needs and utilization while addressing maintenance and cost containment. One story that they shared with us recently was the Meadow Park pool, when it's full, has to be refilled 3 times a week because the water is leaking out. I'd like to know where all that water is going. But these are the kinds of infrastructure things that I'm referring to, and the maintenance issues that must be addressed. Recently, we had a meeting where we floated creative ideas with community partners for long-term funding solutions which would lift our community and provide more amenities. And since we haven't made decisions, I would just say stay tuned as we mull those creative solutions together. Also, another challenge, our library board was hit with a legislative mandate this year, which will most likely force them to go to the public at some point. Roughly 58% of the employees at the library district make less than minimum wage. You might not have known that. I knew that they did not have I knew that they had the governmental exemption, but I didn't know it was 58% of the employees. Talk about service. Talk about selfless service and great staff over there. But in the recent legislative session, when the measure that was adopted by the voters in November was modified by the legislature with regard to sick leave, one of the changes that was added to that bill, which was not something the public voted on, was removing the governmental exemption on minimum wage throughout the state. So that will have to be made up at some point by the district or by the voters. And I would just point out that all of these challenges and other things are very impactful to citizens. One of the recent matters that the legislature has been discussing with regard to all of these things has been property tax reform. Let's discuss for a moment how that works and some of the history. I'll try to be brief, but many folks think that the county is funded by the property tax that we pay at the end of the year. We're not. We're a collection agency. We collect funds from you and we distribute those funds to 42 taxing entities. The county is funded almost entirely by sales tax. So I do get calls on a regular basis asking me why we raise their taxes, and so it's always a point of education. But the challenge really for the legislature as they look at tax reform proposals with regard to property tax is knowing the history. And I'm grateful for those who have reached out, including Representatives Hine and Stinnett and Senator Trent, to get our perspective and some background. It's really simple. Return local control, reverse the centralization creep, and make sure that rollback as intended under the Hancock Amendment is completed, and there really would not be much need for the discussion. Some of that can be explained both in the Senate bill that passed in 1993 and then later revisions to that law regarding rollback. And I'm very grateful for legislators. Our entire delegation has been made up of folks who listen to the concerns that we have, and we appreciate their service as well. And we hope that together we can make reforms that actually do something. Unfortunately, I must say, and this is not a criticism, it's just a fact, the bill which did pass was rather convoluted and really does not help the citizen. It actually centralizes more power in Jefferson City and takes away more local control. Don't get us wrong, we absolutely appreciate our legislative partners. They have helped us in many ways. Senator Huff, again, helped us secure what turned out to be about $500,000 toward the completion of our courts facility and what we hope will be a $30 million down payment toward a new event center in Springfield. More on that in just a moment as well. We're grateful to serve all of our cities and our community partners. This year has seen changes. We said farewell and thank you to our friend Ken McClure, and we said hello and welcome aboard to our friend Jeff Schrag at the City of Springfield. We have enjoyed working with them as well as the city management team, now led by David Cameron. We're thankful for the partnership of service to each other, and to you. Now, speaking of Springfield, we have an opportunity to recreate ourselves and give local business a real advantage. In 33 days, voters will go to the polls to decide this. Actually, you can vote absentee now. You can vote absentee now. And you can, no excuse absentee voting begins October the 21st at the Greene County Election Center on Boonville. And the week before the election, you can also vote absentee at the Library Center South. There is only one thing on the ballot. And the question is, are we finally going to build an event center or not? Let me ask you again, are we finally going to build an event center or not? $125,000 a day, or $45.6 million annually in economic activity we're missing out on currently. I did the math. That would provide just shy of $1 million a year in additional revenue to the county alone in sales tax, because those folks will be here, not shopping online. And the best part about it, the tax to build the event center will be paid by folks who don't live here. It's really a no-brainer. You've heard me speak before about how online shopping and county sales tax policy is hurting local business. That must be addressed at some point, but we will leave that up to you. The main question is, why would we continue to essentially subsidize out-of-state corporations to the tune of $12 million a year when our local merchants employ folks in our community and fund our schools, our parks, and our libraries through property tax? The best way to keep taxes low is to tax all sales equally and fairly. Now, even with the script, I kind of went off on a tangent here, but let me get back to progress in our cities. I'm excited about the event center. Did I mention that? Ash Grove put Greene County funding to work this year by streamlining city operations with new G-Works software and enhancing safety with a widened bridge and a sidewalk along Maple Lane. The city also established progress on a new fire station, a growing subdivision, and park improvements that included a butterfly bench stage, and renovations to Killingsworth Hall. Republic advanced several key projects this year, including improvements to the wastewater treatment plant, progress on a new city hall, and the addition of Schuler Creek Trail, which work also continued along Commercial Avenue, supporting growth and community development in Republic. Rogersville has been recognized as the fastest growing city per capita in Missouri. The growth they are experiencing is a sign of health and vibrancy. We will continue to work with them as they build with foresight and care, ensuring Rogersville remains a wonderful place to work and raise a family. And Willard made important and major strides in transparency, communication, and community connection. And the Manager's Minute video updates that they've begun expanding through surveys, focus groups, and neighborhood visits. The city worked to bring government closer to residents. Important steps were also taken to improve safety, update infrastructure, and strengthen financial stability for the future. Our courts in Greene County have again been recognized for their culture of service. The entire 31st Judicial Circuit was spotlighted by the Missouri Supreme Court with the O'Toole Award for timely processing of cases, including those impacting children. You'll recall the court was the 2018, 2019, 2023, and 2024 recipient as well. But this year, Presiding Judge Jerry Harmison also received the Judicial Excellence Award for circuit judges from the Supreme Court, and Chief Justice Brent Powell presented that as a result of significant contributions to the advancement of the administration of justice. Judge Harmison has provided steady leadership at the helm during a period of great transition in the circuit over the last few years, while exemplifying the standards of servant leadership that treats all parties, jurors, and colleagues with respect and impartiality. We're grateful for his partnership and leadership, and we look forward to his chosen successor, Judge Todd Myers, who was recently elected by the Court en banc to begin a 2-year term as presiding judge in January. Now, I cannot mention our courts without honoring the memory of the late Miles Sweeney, who left us for even better fishing waters this past Sunday. Judge Sweeney served on the Greene County bench for 23 years and brought many improvements to the circuit. He was a statesman who offered what he called free advice to me during my legislative tenure. I knew it was wisdom. He had also served the nation in Vietnam. Memory eternal, Judge. He was a very good man. Construction of the new secured courts entrance will be completed in about a year. The strategic reuse of the former jail and redesign of the family courts has saved taxpayers several $1 million in demolition and construction costs, which I've detailed in the past. But it will provide also for separation of waiting parties who most likely are at odds with one another, along with a secure workspace for law enforcement waiting to testify. More details on that project can also be found in that online report that I mentioned. Also in about a year, county operations on the first floor of the Cox Tower, including the commission, will move back to historic courthouse, reducing our lease outlays and making us more accessible to citizens. And for the 10th year in a row, we have just completed our Greene County Ag Tour, led by the MU Extension Office, and this one was really interesting. It was fabulous, and if you missed the article in SBJ last week, you might dig that out and take a look at it. I'll try to keep this brief, but we visited a Berkshire hog operation, sustainable farming at its best. And it really spoke to me because just prior to that, and I've shared this with the chamber, I was in Warren County for the board meeting of the County Commissioners Association, what I serve on, and we toured the new beef processing plant there in Warrenton. It's in Wright City, actually, just up the road from Warrenton. They employ 2,000 people, and it's a wonderful environmentally friendly project which covers about 18 acres. And the director of agriculture was there and indicated that in the beginning, we were not competing for the project. They had been working on it, but the director of agriculture had said, when we first started talking, we said, you ought to look at Southwest Missouri because that's where the cattle are. But they chose that location for several reasons. Among those were the workforce availability in the region and also housing. And so in that article, we kind of make the case for addressing both of those. We're grateful to our partners at the Chamber and SBDC who do such effective and meaningful work in economic development and its space. We dream and we envision ways to grow our region, and we partner each year with them to make it happen. The need for workforce and housing cannot be understated. I've recently had conversations with home builders and with carpenters. We are ready, and we're willing. As Matt Morrow has so aptly said, you cannot be for affordable housing if you're not for housing. It has to go somewhere, okay? But we're working to review and update our zoning and our codes to best facilitate reducing barriers to entry into homeownership. It must be done. And we appreciate our good partners at the City of Springfield who are also going through a similar process. We're beginning work on updating our comprehensive plan. You'll find also some information on that at your table with the QR code. You can complete the survey online or come to one of those meetings. We would love to have your input. As we move into 2026, we have some visions of great community events, including some things which we hope to do to raise some private funds for the restoration of our beautiful historic courthouse and continually utilize that for its purpose. And also, America's 250th is in 2026, and we're grateful for the team that we've assembled who will help to celebrate that along with our partners at the city and the state of Missouri. As I wrap up, allow me to go back now and to share those lyrics with you that I promised. I know you're just waiting with bated breath. As a wagon would bog down in the mud when the pioneers were moving west, or the wheel would get stuck in a rocky crag, the pioneers would sing this chorus, and I just think it is so meaningful and draws such a picture. Put your shoulder to the wheel, push along. Do your duty with a heart full of song. We all have work. Let no one shirk. Put your shoulder to the wheel. On behalf of our customer service-minded employees, our department leaders, our office holders, and our judges, it's a pleasure to put our shoulder to the wheel and to do our duty to really serve each one of you every single day and to do it with calm, courteous connectedness. Thank you, and have a good morning, Springfield.